Hello, hello. It's been a while. It's been like, more than a month? Hold on, let me make sure. First off, can y'all hear me? Did I click unmute properly? Because it has been a while, and I have messed it up before. Wow, I was just like, there isn't a stream today, what time? You're here to give your hot takes, C? Well, I might have some hot takes about matchup favorability. So a lot has happened since the last stream, because the last stream was the day that Rob Catton won Battle Hard Liverpool with Prism. And since then, it's like, oh, this is just a real deck now. Speaking of it being a real deck, at Calling Phuket, we saw not one, but two players in the top 8. It was a quarter of the top 8 playing Prism. There's been a whole new world of Prism since then. You're not kidding. We went from like never beating Guardian in a million years and just not being a real deck, and like never beating Dromai in a million years either, by the way, to just being a heavy hitters meta contender, which is unbelievable. I obviously was kind of quiet during a lot of that because I was getting ready for Pro Tour LA. My run there was just okay. We saw in round 2, I was a backup feature match and did make it on stream. If you want to go watch me play the Aura Flood game plan versus Levia. I had the Gambler's Gloves tech and they didn't. So essentially what the game came down to was like a 75% chance for them to have one action point on the combo turn, on the Flood turn, if you will. And he rolled a 5 twice. It happens. Sometimes you lose very strongly favored odds, and that's okay. And then I also lost to Josh Lau, who went on to top 8 the event. I went in to that weekend a little underprepared for Hatchet Dory, and I wasn't patient enough setting up flood pieces and just trying to trade with him with heralds. And while that's a fine strategy, I was not prepared to execute it and promptly lost. I am a star of Viserai. This is objectively correct. So yeah, I did just okay in the Pro Tour. Played the Calling 6-2 day 1, despite playing 4 Mechanologists on day 1, and you'll hear my comments on that later on in the tier list. Needs more Wrath. I do wish that I could fit more Wrath in my list. I want 5 Wrath. There's just not enough space. Day 2 of the Calling, I ended up going 2 and 3. I had to play 2 more Mechanologists, and Reinar went about how you expect. Yeah, I know, I'm crying about it, chat. Hey, welcome, Scott. You don't like how that semifinals with Vespa went? I haven't watched all of his games. Was that the game versus Brody? I heard that there were some judge calls and that it was very long, but I have not watched it start to finish. What I do know is we have 2 Prism lists just out here in the wild. And so I want to break down kind of like what I think is going on here, because they're very different lists. Am I going to be Enigma gaming? Oh, don't you believe it, Michael. I'm so going to be an Enigma gamer. I doubt I will stop playing Prism, but everything I see about Enigma makes me feel like she's Icelander 2, which is weird because there's no ice involved, but it's just like blue heavy, instance. I get to play Phantasmaclasm, which is like my favorite disruption card in the entire game. Likely be Enigma mean with me. Awesome. Absolutely excited for that. Enid Gaming, I got it. Got the pun now. I read back far enough. I am doing pretty well, Scott. I hope you're doing well as well. Enigma is what you wanted from OG Prism? Yeah, that's kind of what I feel is like. Sorry, I don't know why I have Talishar pulled up right now if it's just me yapping at chat. We can fix that. I also have about half as much hair as I did last time we streamed, so all kinds of things are changing. Enigma, from everything I've seen, looks like Vestige Prism, but just all the time. Like, you never play the Herald part. And the Herald part is, I think, arguably the stronger half of Prism, but it's not the more fun half, in my opinion. So if Enigma just lets me do that all the time, I'm so ready. Best part, all the Mystic Activators payoffs are instants. Exactly. I'm so excited for all the turn cycles where it's like Arsenal a Transcend card, wait till you draw the next Transcend card, and then you get to do the thing where you play one, hold priority, play the other one, both bounce back to hand. Both bounce back to hand, and you get 6 resources back. I'm very excited. Might as well tell TCG player to keep my paycheck, because you're gonna be spending it on marvels anyways. See, my issue, Strat, is I'm gonna have a really hard time resisting Japanese marveling the deck. That is gonna be an arm and a leg, but I'm probably gonna do it. I'm probably gonna do it. Hey, welcome everybody. Cat Marvel is the best. Simply do not resist. I won't be able to. I will JP Marvel the entire deck probably. Stir the Pot is really good. How can you say no to that, Cat? I'm sorry, chat's going so fast I can barely keep up. Most of the marvels are Marvel commons, right? Yeah, so of all the marvels that we've seen so far, Mocha, all of them are common instants except for the Sacred Arts, which are, we don't know the rarity. I would assume Majestic. So I think the Sacred Arts are going to end up being like the Marvel Dragons from Uprising in terms of like price. I would expect them to be around $200. And then the commons are probably going to be like in the $20 range, kind of like the non-Majestic Dragons from Uprising. That would be my guess. Talking English, of course. If you do a foreign language, who knows what the multiplier looks like there. Vishraa's right. Stir the Pot's great. The Sun and Moon card with the Phoenix and the Fox or Wolf, easily the best art in the set so far. Like, easily. Donate your blinged out Prism list for imported Japanese cards. You know, Alex, I hate to say that I have unironically been thinking about that. I need to see more of the spoiler. I need to see more of the set before I commit to trading in Prism bling for Enigma bling, but it could, there's a world where that could happen. Commons should be cheaper because legendary. Yes, you only need one of each, right? So yeah, Vishraa's a good point. You probably need less of them than you do the dragons. I think the way that the spoiler is working out is each hero has access to up to 9 Transcend cards, 8 commons, and then 1 Sacred Art. Presumably that's all the marvels in the set, but we'll see. Even with current base illusionist cards, she's been a lot of fun. Yeah, that's what's crazy, Mocha. I've also been looking at that. Like, you can build an Enigma deck right now, and it's a very real deck. And we've seen 10% of the set. So what's she gonna look like with a bunch of Mystic cards? It's gonna be absurd. I'm very excited. I just hope Phantasmaclasm makes the cut. I know that I keep saying that card name. Yes, but waifu taps. You say that, Strat. I think New is going to be the deck that really gets hit with the waifu taps. I mean, Enigma will have like the general illusionist tax that always happens, but I think New is the one that's going to be really expensive, because Uzuri is already the most expensive deck in the game right now, right? At least in CC. And it can like only get worse, right? Because it's not Shakedown that's making Uzuri expensive, it's everything else. I really want them to let me sleeve flipped Chi in the sideboard and swap out so I don't have to flip. Not going to happen, I'm sad. Okay. This is the Vishra, because it's you. This is the one time I'll entertain this. It's really not that hard to just flip your cards back and forth. What you do is get these. They're Dragon Shield inner sleeveable clear. Sealable inner sleeves in clear. That's what I do for my Prism deck, for my Marvel Figments. And it lets you really easily swap back and forth in your outer sleeve without damaging your cards. It's not that hard. And in draft or limited, just don't inner sleeve and just have opaque cards. And it's like 2 seconds. Watch. Let me grab a Figment right now. It's more the action of having to take them out. What's wrong with that? This is the one time I'm going to mention this, by the way, chat, because otherwise we'll just sit here arguing about this forever and a day. Alternatively, quad sleeve and send a message. I feel like that's a really good way to go to time every round shot, because they can't technically disallow that, right? Okay, I have a Figment here. Hold on, let me make sure that the camera can see me. I have a Figment here. Watch this. Done. It's not that hard. Beautiful art, by the way. Second, so good with the cold foiling. You're most excited, sorry, I'm just trying to catch up on chat. Michael, most excited for the way they designed the new 3 class Ls. I really wonder what Enigma will get. It's likely Mage Master Boots in the ledge slot. Yes, okay. I wanted to float that theory as well, Michael. So I originally saw this proposed by Noah Clark, but there's an idea floating around of, so what if we get Diadem of Dream State? So it's like Ward 2, and whenever a non-token permanent you control with Ward is destroyed, you can pay 1. If you do, create an Eloquence token instead of a Ponder token. So it's like Mage Master Boots that are like kind of mandatory, but the ceiling is way higher. Are we gaming tonight? We are going to be gaming tonight a little bit. So we've got 4 things on the docket. After I talk about these legendary boots that may or may not exist. Make Eloquence tokens. So it's like Mage Master Boots. You have to work for it. Ceiling's much higher of multiple action points, and best of all, it fits into the identity of like feat have to do with action points, just like head has to do with card advantage usually. Okay, so what's on our docket tonight? Because I promise I'm not just going to sit here and just chat about Flesh and Blood for 2 hours. We have 2 Calling Decklists here, and they're very different, and I want to give my thoughts on how these decks are doing different things and what they're better against, because there are ProQuest seasons that are starting this weekend, and if you want to play Prism, you probably need a list to take. And so if you have a local meta that's tuned to either Ninja or a Dromai, or you're more likely to see one of those 2 things, I have different recommendations on which of these 2 Phuket lists you should take. Earlier this week, there was talk in the Purple Discord about exactly how Prism's matchups went, in terms of what was very favored, what was just kind of favored, what was really bad. So I wanted to give my own thoughts on that, which also, might help you decide as we're going into ProQuest season this weekend, do you even bring Prism in the first place? Then we're going to play some games. We'll do at least 2, hopefully 3, depends on how time is going. And we're going to see if we can get some Ascent members in here. Otherwise, we'll just play against talishar randos. Speaking of, may I get an invite to the Prism Discord? So when I say Prism Discord, I just mean the purple Flesh and Blood community Discord, and just the Prism Awakener of Soul channel in that Discord. And then lastly, what we're going to do last tonight, and I'll explain how to do this at the end. So, do y'all remember this box of heavy hitters that I was supposed to be doing pack 1 pick 1s with? Well, that kind of got messed up when I stopped streaming because I was practicing for Pro Tour LA. And you may notice there's no packs in this box. So I might have had a lapse in self-control and ripped a box. But it's okay. We still have the cards here. They were very good draft fodder. And I did keep the pulls. So we're going to talk about what was pulled in this box, and I am going to set up a giveaway that'll end in a week. And these cards will go to someone here. Not necessarily in this chat. It'll be open to people that watch the VOD as well. And we'll talk about that later. You'd expect at least 1 Mystic L. My suspicion would be that we get a Mystic unclassed legendary, and that we get untalented classed legendaries, ninja, assassin, illusionist, kind of like what they did in Uprising with having the Flamestone Furnace, but also Tiger Stripe Shuko and Ghostly Touch. Did I say Eaton? Did I? Wait. Scott is typing strange quotes in the chat. Did I say eat the packs? I definitely meant cracked the packs. It's basically the same thing, right? Okay, so deck lists. Let's at least get started on those. Where are we going? Here? Yeah. Oh, you were guessing what I did? Okay. Well, I embarrassingly did do that. We're going to start with Vespa's list. It's close. Listen, we get hungry sometimes. We're going to start with Vespa's list because it's closer to what I know, and so I can give my thoughts on it a little bit better. Wow, that was a wild experience waking up that Sunday morning and just opening my phone and seeing that the official Flesh and Blood Twitter account had tagged me, because apparently in interviews Vespa was like, yeah, learned from on hit effects. That was such a cool experience. So I've taken these 80 card lists from the fabtcg website, imported them to Fabrary. This list is included in the description because it is what we're going to play today when we get to games. I don't know that I have a lot of clout now, but it was definitely a very cool moment. And huge congratulations to Vespa and Shannon, both for top 8ing the Calling. That's an incredible thing on a very difficult hero, so shout out to both of y'all. What I've done here is taken the 80 cards and I have tried to sideboard them into a Herald aggro main, and then your Aura sideboard plan as best as I could. I don't know exactly what these players were doing, but this should be a reasonable starting point for you, or for me rather, as I start to play games with these lists. In terms of what we see in Vespa's list, cards that stand out to me. So kind of the default aggro Rapture plan, except for Wave of Reality. This is kind of one-for-one swapping with Goliath Gauntlet in this list. I am going to be real, I kind of like the change a lot. When I originally put Goliath Gauntlet in the list, well, I didn't, Rob Catlin did in his list, but my initial understanding of what Goliath Gauntlet was for was to get over equipment breakpoints, specifically against warriors. But we've kind of been in this weird arms race with warriors where they're playing more poppers. It's more consistent that we loop them because none of them, or not loop, but like Aura Flood them, because none of them are playing action point manipulation. And if we are, it means that they're not playing Valiant Dynamo or Refraction Bolters, which both we're kind of quite happy on. Doesn't take much for you to sleeve up a wave. Ladies and gentlemen, we got them. Wave also... So like Wave always gets you 2 value compared to where Goliath Gauntlet, in the matchups where we were still playing Goliath Gauntlet, you don't have trouble hitting anyways. And so what Wave lets you do is stop early breakpoints with 3-block cards. Super relevant versus Katsu, where you can eat the first 2 Kodachis on the first real turn of the game, which means that you get actual ward value out of your first Raptured Angel, which is what I really, really like in terms of Wave. We see this emphasis on special shields and other 1 value prevention echoed in Herald of Protection Red, replacing Tenacity. Similar thing, I actually have made this swap myself as well right before that calling happened, because I put Red Tenacity in originally to chew up warrior fridges. And then we stopped playing Red Heralds into Warriors, and it's like, all right, well, what's Tenacity actually in here for? Red Protection, again, great to eat the Kodachis when you're playing against ninjas. I'm so sorry, that was probably really loud. But at the end of the day, it's still a Red Herald. It's a breakpoint, which is quite nice. Kind of a default Figment suite, default-ish yellow suite. There's 3 Herald of Judgment here, so what I'm getting out of this list so far is we're really, really respecting Katsu specifically. Was a good choice. There was a Katsu in the finals of the event. And I think in general, Ninja kind of tends to be very highly represented in the Asia, Australasia, Pacifica region. Only one Herald of Tenacity, it's fine. Invoke Soraya. We'll notice that Alex Becker just joined in chat, said greetings all. This is a card, if you have seen the IP3 episode where him and I do a deep dive on Prism, this is a card him and I have been fighting over for a while now. I originally did not have it in my list. It's in Vespa's list. Spoiler alert, it's also in Shannon's list. Spoiler alert. I'm finally caving and putting it in my list. They can't all be wrong, right? Surely this card is good. And I do see the applications of like being a soul-free way to add something to the board post-flood. And lifelink is like such a big deal in this game because when we talk about just like 1 point of value so often, draining life is a big deal. Finally, Alex says, yes, I concede, Alex. Fine, I'll put it in my deck. Wave plus Soraya turn 0 is goated. That's pretty gross, Scott. That's a really, really nasty play. Blue Wrath. Love to see it. I'm such a big proponent of Blue Wrath over Yellow Wrath, specifically because Blue Wrath enables you, if they pop your first Herald, you can pitch it to Footsteps and second Herald. If they full block your first Herald, you can Wrath over the top of it. And if they no block your first Herald, you can pitch Wrath to swing the second Herald or an Angel, Arsenal the second Herald. It's just the blue specifically enables it to also pay for Footsteps second Herald, which really enables a lot of play lines. Wait, I don't understand. How is Wave Soraya a combo turn 0? Not like exactly turn 0, but like your opponent goes first and you leak 1 damage through, or you leak damage through once, and then so you get to commit at turn 1. That's what I assume at least. I guess you can like... I guess you could like Halo turn 0. I don't recommend that. The other nasty play is if your first Herald connects turn 0, maybe it's, you know, your Tenacity and they can only block 3. Then you do get Fimit Protection. You can put the Soraya on top of that. There are some edge cases where it happens. It doesn't happen often. You should not Halo. Don't Halo turn 0 to play Invoke Soraya. But it can happen. It does everything except block. Oh, Angelic Wrath? Yeah. Invoke Soraya, in fact, does block. Not even attack action. Take that, Bolton. 3 Pierce, love to see it. I guess this card is controversial. I think it's really good. And you can't make me play less than 3 because it's the lowest priority Spectra on the like must kill order. It's a nasty combo with the Streamweavers in the sideboard. The last surprising card here, I think, is Great Library Solana. Very divisive card. It's like on my to-do list to check it again and make sure I still don't like it. But my impression every time I play with it is that it loses you just as many games as it wins you. I think based on very short conversations I was having with Vespa on Twitter, he primarily likes it in against Dromai, and we did see that disgusting turn 0 library against Dromai on coverage. But especially with Dromai leaving the format presumably in 1 week, I am definitely going to err on the side of not putting library in my list. Everything else makes sense here. On the other hand, we've got a list that I think on the surface level, a lot of the cards are going to look very similar, but I think has a much different lineage compared to Vespa's. If I had to wager a guess, this is going to be a lot of speculation on my part. The Gambler's Gloves, yes. So this presumably is tech that Vespa picked up from my channel, which is, you know, part of the reason based on an assumption of when he talked about that in interview, Gambler's Gloves are really good. Specifically, so that your brute opponent has 1 action point, or is most likely to have 1 action point on the flood turn. If you want a as succinct an explanation as possible on how you use Gambler's Gloves and how the math works out for Gambler's Gloves, go check out that IP3 episode I mentioned. I believe the other list is not playing these. Oh, it is. Okay, so just we're all in on the secret. Worst kept secret in Flesh and Blood, Gambler's Gloves in Illusionist. So in Shannon's list on the other side, oh, hold on, I'm behind. Kano being free is a truth that really hurts, but somebody can't play into the match. Everyone should have a bad matchup so it's balanced. Are you talking about like having Norrøn gloves, even though our ward is so good versus Kano? I still err on the side of AB2. I know that is actually unpopular, and that's okay. I like free matchups, and AB2 definitely gets you to free versus Kano. Okay, other top 8 list. I think the thumbnail has picture of Kano next to free 1. It does if you play Arcane Barrier 2. Oh, that gotcha, Mocha. So this list, when I look at it, what I think is adapted Rob Catlin battle hardened winning list. And let me walk you through here. So we're missing some red heralds. There's 2 red Herald of Tenacity missing here. There's the Goliath Gauntlet here, but importantly, there's the Figment of War has been added. Kano killed you turn 0 the other day. I decided to take a break. What in the world, Scott? Were you playing AB0? So Figment of War has been added. This lets you not actually cheat, and turn a yellow herald into a red herald once per game, and kind of like on demand, which is quite good. And there's also Yellow Wraths and Goliath Gauntlet here. Yellow Wrath, because it can't pitch for second herald, tends to be a much more aggressive card in terms of play patterns. And Goliath Gauntlet is kind of an on-demand turn a herald into a red, so I can see the justification in the cuts there. We still see 7 Figment Suite, so this does include Figment of War. Invoke Viserai also in this list, a bit bolder without Red Herald of Protection or Wave of Reality, but you know, it's pretty common for Guardians while they're on cleanup duty, killing Arclight Sentinel and Soraya, that you have a Spectral Shield line, Archangel Soraya, Herald of Archangel of Erudition. You tend to have a Spectral Shield lying around from Genesis, and I think you can still resolve this card just fine. AB1 just ate the highest of high rolls after playing Blue Aura. That's disgusting, Scott. Again, another reason for AB2. That all you got? 2 copies in this list. I think this is just kind of like hedging for Ninja in a different way compared to the emphasis on Spectral Shields in Vespa's list, because this card is fantastic versus Kodachi's. It's relevant versus Ashwings. That's about all. It's quite good to that all you got a flail on a Vincent. Not that matchup is super relevant, but pretty good. And then the last, so this is the same blue suite that Rob was running down to the 1 Pierce Reality. That's another like kind of tip to me here that's might be like where this list originates from. The last spicy card in here, United We Stand. Now, most people look at this and they think that this is an Iris card, but really what this is telling me is that we are respecting Dromai here. Of course, it's a popper, but it's also, the reason you end up playing United We Stand over other alternatives is it's a light popper. It is, besides Celestial Cataclysm, the only yellow light popper. So it lets you play it in the main deck because it's still a yellow card, while also being additional tech for Dromai. That at least is my suspicion. I've had the card on my radar for the same reasons, and so that's kind of the logic that I get to on why this singleton card is doing here. Invoke Soraya card. That's true. There's also some synergies of if you can get the Unity off on this, it makes a Spectral Shield for you to put Invoke Soraya on top of. that's very card intensive and doesn't apply pressure to your opponent. So I don't know exactly how often that's actually happening. And then for this aura sideboard, also the library, presumably for Dromai and Guardians. I know Rob was on this originally, though I think that he has since tried it, or he mentioned trying it publicly. And kind of the auras you would expect. No Dreamweavers in this list, just Goliath Gauntlet, Gambler's Gloves, no Ring Gloves. So kind of assuming in the Pauper heavy matchups that you're going to stick a Passing Mirage at some point. Or I guess attack with United we stand for 8, which is not the worst thing in the world, but not where you want to be. There's also only one reprimand here. I assume this is to like fake out your opponent. They see you pitch a copy and now they start playing around the other 2 copies. Excuse me. Because, I don't know, I'm a known reprimand hater. I've been frequently underwhelmed with the card. But it might be cute as a one-of, because the reason I dislike it is once your opponents know that you are playing reprimand, they can play around it quite easily. So if you give them the thought like, hey, you might have to worry about reprimand, you might be able to trick them into playing inefficient blocks. So this might be genius at 1 copy. I definitely don't like it at 2 to 3 or 5, like I used to convince myself was okay. Oh, are you also yelling at me about Invoke Viserai, Vishra? Okay, yeah, maybe I was wrong about that card. I get it. So, like, overall, what's going on here? I think if you have local metas that are very heavy Dromai, I would recommend this list. Fewer Red Heralds, there's Library, there's an additional Pauper. Excuse me. This list is much more consistent at looping Dromai, I would hazard a guess. Counterpoint, if they're packing Time Strippers, it's going to have a slightly harder time racing Dromai. On the other hand, if you got a lot of Kodachis running around, just a bunch of ninjas in your metagame, I would recommend the list that makes like 4 Spectral Shields more per game on average than Shannon's list. I think they're both great. At the end of the day, they're not that different. Go nuts. I'm very excited. I definitely will be playing at least 1 ProQuest on Prism this weekend. Potentially 2. It depends on how travel accommodations go. I am going to be playing games later on Leaps. I've got one thing to do before then. So, about that matchup favorability, I thought this would be a fun exercise because coming away from the Calling LA and the Pro Tour LA, I think I was underinformed about where some matchups sit in terms of how favored they are or not. So let's just, and I won't spend forever on this, but let's quickly run through where we think matchups are. And please feel free to yell at me in chat if you disagree with these, because what we're here for is a conversation. I've rated this on a 7-point scale, so I'm not doing like S, A, B, C, D, F. Instead, I want to explicitly say like strongly favored, favored, slightly favored. These are like the positive emotions. I'm not going to try to put exact win rate percentages. 50-50, of course, and then slightly, normal, and strongly unfavored, just to give you a sense of, or at least explain my sense of how happy I am to see these matchups when I sit down for them in an event. We've hit an interesting division point where there's 3 different Prism builds that are all at least slightly different in approach and swinging specific matchups. That's an excellent point. Thank you for mentioning that before I get into this. So this is assuming we're playing Vespa's list. This is the style of Prism that I'm most familiar with, and this is I'll mention like I'm flooding in this game strategy, or I'm Herald aggroing. If you're interested, you can check my public sideboard guide in the IP3 episode, or the gameplay videos I released in the last 2 weeks, which have full sideboard guides and show what I'm doing in each matchup. Now let's start with the simplest option. This is snooze. Of course, the mirror is a 50% chance to win. It's the mirror. If If it's not a 50-50, you have discovered some broken tech. What do we do next? This is just a free buy, as we saw in the thumbnail. It's actually free if you have AB2. I've yet to drop a game to Kano on AB2. You can lose on AB1. It's still strongly favored. It is still favored, but you can lose. I think with AB2 we become strongly favored. On the other hand, our worst matchup in the game, I think he's our worst matchup. Reinar might be down there as well. Bolton goes super wide, so you can't play Spectra, and he has a bunch of 7-power natural poppers, so you can't really play Heralds. And he has a Warrior Fridge, you really can't play Heralds. Matchup's terrible. It might be better if we put Parable of Humility back in. That might happen with Zen running around in Mysteria. I don't know yet. From there, let's just move on down the line. Arachne exists somewhere between these two tiers. They only play like 9 to 12 poppers, so you can kind of just herald them down, and they also struggle at clearing Spectra because their real attacks don't have go again. Even a Kano running 9 poppers into you didn't drop a game. That's disgusting, Wally. I mean, it's a bit high on poppers, no? Because then they kind of start really struggling to Kano well. Combo or mid Bolton? So I'm specifically speaking about Raiden Bolton there. I think combo Bolton plays out like Trisai but worse because they have instant speed action points. I think they are both terribly unfavored. So like I don't know that it actually changes the answer which flavor of Bolton it is. We're gonna leave Arachne in favored because I have almost lost a couple of games to Arachne when their poppers are timed well. And they banish some key figments, things can get really, really dicey. But I do think it is generally a matchup I want to see. All Bolton is mid Bolton. I don't know that I agree with that, Scott. I think Bolton's like a really good deck. Azalea, we saw this many times on coverage. It is a losable matchup, but I think it is a strongly favored matchup. They just can't really block Heralds well at all. And when all of our stuff says gain 4 life on a hit, it's very good. Betsy, it's like favored, it's fine. Any Guardian can aggro you down. It's like slightly favored if they have time skippers, specifically paired with Balance of Justice. And so I'm going to go ahead and put our other Guardians there as well. I think out of these 3, Bravo is the hardest because the on-tap Dominate and the extra Disruption and Crippling Crush can kill you faster compared to Betsy and Victor. That's kind of like where I'm at in Guardians right now. I don't know, there's a bit of an arms race going on where they keep teching for us more and more. The matchup keeps getting worse and worse. Once Azalea starts teching, it gets worse, right? Murkmire and Tarpit Trap. So yes, I'm not really that afraid of Murkmire. They have to either find it naturally, which like they're not playing 3 of them, right? Because that's, you just have a blank card in too many matchups. They can knock for it. We can sit on ALS if we are afraid of that, and I think we probably should start, but you're totally right, Pankaj. Tarpit Trap is a pain, is real good versus Prism. Please don't play that, Rangers. And that probably knocks it down somewhere like here if they start teching for us really hard. Maybe we're supposed to put her in favored and not strongly favored. A well-built Betsy is harder than Bravo. She's not played enough for it to be relevant. Interesting. So I'm going to trust you on that, Barrett. Guilty confession. I have not played a CC game versus Betsy. You got me. Been mostly focused on Bravo and Victor, but I will trust you on that one. So Dash is weird. It's like, I thought it was here. I thought this was like unwinnable. So, and hold on, let me clarify. Boost Dash. I think the Slab Dash is a bit too slow. They don't have quite enough poppers. And we can just kind of like herald them down with a little bit of auras here and there, or kind of a very small flood turn in the middle of the game maybe. Boost Dash I thought was going to be like unwinnable because they have a ton of poppers and they go super fast. What I've found is Boost Dash's poppers are the power cards. If you make them block with them, their turns are not fantastic, and specifically they're wasting a lot of power per card out of their deck. So the way I found where the matchup goes is you spend the first couple of turn cycles trading life for their fridge and some of their poppers and getting a few figments on the board. And then at around your, Prism's 20 life point, you kind of start to pivot into this mild fatigue where you focus on just crunching numbers out of your cards available, block with Footsteps a lot, pitching a blue, Footsteps plus Awakened Figment, one of the better things you can be doing in the matchup. And if they get, slightly unlucky on their banishes, I think you can fatigue them a reasonable amount of the time. I did it twice in the Calling LA actually. So I think it's unfavored, but I think it is winnable. If it's slab, it's probably like somewhere around here. So I'm gonna put Dash Inventor Extraordinaire in unfavored for now. Stop telling the secret. We kind of play like. We kind of like when people pop. We do kind of like when Dash pops. It is a poorly kept secret, I think. The issue is that max V that they popped with can now be fetched with a backup protocol red. For what it's worth, this is how you found the Prism versus Boost Dash matchup to be semi-fatigued winnable. Glad we're on the same page. Dio, I have no idea. I have played a grand total of 1 game versus Dio. It was at the 4-0 table at Calling, not the place you want to be learning your matchup on the fly. I think the game was relatively winnable, but I made a critical mistake, which is my opponent had a Balance of Justice, and they had 4 cards in an arsenal. And I, like a genius, in all of my Prism knowledge, decided, let's attack with this Herald of Erudition. They don't have a fridge. It's probably going to get through. And it did get through. And they were like, yeah, sure, take 5. And I drew my 2 cards, and I awakened an angel and attacked or whatever. And then in a turn, they were like, crack balance. I have a 6-card hand. This max V is trivial to play now. And that's a good way to lose, is enabling your opponent's maximum velocity. I need to test the matchup more. I'm going to leave it in 50-50 for right now. I think it should be a fine matchup, especially if you catch them on like an item brick turn. Just get 2 heralds to connect and the game is kind of over. Dorinthia, losable, not strongly favored, but I think quite favored. We saw this gameplay in the games I played versus, I think you're supposed to pronounce it Nipsey. You can check out that gameplay video on my channel, and please go check out his content as well. He makes fantastic Dorinthia stuff. Rip Bozo. I was indeed the Bozo. I think it's important to note that versus Dawnblade, you don't ever awaken angels to attack with them. They are essentially just D-reacts, except for when you're flooding off. Versus Hatchets, we can just drown them in Herald value and then have a strong flood turn and seal the game. Is there any other Dory archetype? Maybe one that Team Ascent teammates are playing? Nah, no one would take Decimator Great Axe to the Pro Tour. If your opponent is playing Great Axe, just present a perfect loop because they can't kill you in time and the game is over. It's pretty easy to do once you get the hang of it. Dromai, controversial one. So this entirely depends on how much tech they're bringing. If they flip Time Skippers, you can't really go for the loop, and we're somewhere between slightly unfavored and unfavored. You kind of just have to race them. Luckily, they've given up Mage Master Boots or Snap Dragon Scalers, so they're not as fast, they're not as explosive, and you can race them a bit better. If they don't present Time Skippers, and they don't draw a time snap potion early, I would dare to say that Dromai is a very strongly favored matchup. They have like 4 turns to kill you, and if you don't, you loop them every single game. It's ridiculous. The fact that Ashwings and Dragons are Herald of Erudition outlets to get free soul and refresh your hand and turn on Vestige of Soul makes the loop. And just attacking, you know, dragons with any allies in general makes the loop like trivial. What are we dotting about, Alex? Did I say something too controversial? Because we had this moment. We had a friend reach out to me and be like, hey, I don't understand why all these prisms say Dromai is winnable. I've just been roasting them on Dromai. And I was like, sure, I can show the matchup to you. And I looped him twice in a row, and he was like, oh, I get it. No one would play Decimator at the PT. Oh, yes. So Alex actually had to play Dagon at the PT. And what I heard was a riveting game. What was the life total deficit, Alex? It was like year 3 to Dagon's 46 or something like that. And Alex came back and won. Probably a better Prism pilot than me, to be honest. Phi, I would put him somewhere between slightly favored and favored. Just kind of like, he can't block Heralds well. All of our tricks are good versus him. I don't want to put him in strongly favored because sometimes Phi explodes and deals, 29 damage in one turn, and that's like essentially Prism's entire life total, and you do lose. But not all the time. Usually you win. So slightly favored, put it as you wish. Everything I said about Hatchet Dory, you can say the same thing about Kasai. The trade-off is like she has blood on her hands, which has an explosive endgame, so you have to like flood earlier. But she doesn't get to pressure with 3 hatchet swings as often, so it's like it kind of balances out, comes out in the wash. Actually, you know what? We're gonna put both ninjas in slightly favored. Celestial Cataclysm was the game changer. 3 cards got you 21 damage. That is kind of gross when you triple Sea Strike and just say, nice last-ditch efforts. I see your 2-card 8 go agains. Here's a 1-card 7 go again. And another one. And another one. You love whenever games go long enough that you get to play all 3. Yeah. My favorite is when you block with one of your 3 Sea Strikes early, and your opponent's like, okay, I don't have to worry about that. And then you're like, no. Figment of Rebirth. Let's get it back. So Katsu, a lot of the same things I said about Phi apply to Katsu. Pretty skill intensive to decide when to use your Halo. Usually it's for Figment of Judgment to take away one of their bonds of ancestry. Which saves you 8-ish value typically. But once you use your Halo, there's no threat of Halo, and so finding that sweet spot is interesting. Alex destroyed you on Prism at RTN. Afterwards he said you hate Prism and wanted to say sorry for him. Oh, well, good on you King, for fessing up to the bad manners. Here in the light of Solana, we are welcoming to people that repent, or something like that. That was way too strange and religious. KO. I think I'm comfortable putting KO right around here at 50-50. I played 5 games of this last week, if you want to see that on the channel. I'm quite concerned about Savage Sash. That's a lot of extra fridge. And it means that they can play Gambler's Gloves and not lose any fridge, which probably pushes it slightly unfavored or unfavored. But for now, Savage Sash doesn't exist, it can't hurt me. Savage Sash doesn't exist, it can't hurt me. Levi, I do think, is unfavored. You need your action point to break correctly, and you need them to not draw super aggressively right off the bat. And you need to find out an opportunity to get over their Carrion Husk, which is really annoying. I don't know if this is a deck that will be playing Savage Sash when it comes out, but I don't expect Savage Sash to change the matchup significantly because Levi was already packing Gambler's Gloves and they already had a huge fridge. Max might be our second worst matchup in the game, which is crazy to say, but you can beat Max, but he has even more poppers and dash because he's also playing rev ups and big Berthas, usually. Excuse me. And his high octanes are way better than Dash's high octanes. And while we have a little bit of an out versus overpower in the mech, we also start at 32, so it's not really that much of an out. I'm still learning the matchup. I've only played it a couple of times, lost to it twice in the calling. There were only 3 matches. I played 2 of them. We'll see how it goes. Maybe we can move this up here as time goes on. Just dissolve reality, the Arsenal Mechanoid. What are you doing? I'm not cheating with cards that aren't in my decklist, Viserai. That's what I'm doing. That does seem quite good, though. I need to give Dissolve Reality a fair shot. I know Justin Salmon is quite high on it. Olympia. Do we dare push Olympia all the way up into strongly favored? Olympia is just like... He's like Hatchet Warrior, but without any fancy tricks. I think we can put him here. We're gonna disrespect the Spartan. Reinar, I think we're gonna put right next to Levia. 2 claws is just so hard to beat. And Reinars typically do play Gambo's Gloves themselves. Although we'll see if that wanes or waxes as Savage Sash comes about. Riptide, do we put this in strongly favored or just favored? I finally lost to a Riptide for the first time the other day. I think that qualifies as strongly favored. Tarpit Trap obviously is very good versus us, but it's just like, okay, you're Azalea without Dominate, so I get to protect my board a lot of the time anyways. The only annoying thing about Riptide is trap pings eating your angels, so just make sure to bank Spectral Shields when you can. Another point in favor of Wave Reality, maybe. Riptide has 3 good cards in a Prism. It doesn't make up for everything else. They have 4. They also have Collapsing Trap. So like slightly more than 5% of their deck. You know, that's great. It's a good winning recipe. Another strongly favored matchup, Teklevosen. Yeah. They just can't kill you before you combo them at all. Yeah, I haven't lost to Teklevosen yet. There's like some cute stuff they can do where you loop them and then they go ahead and Singularity anyways, which gets them 2 action points if they have the Steel Soul legs. But then they probably just get fatigued. It's not great. Murkmire? Okay, Alex, calm down. When you can't dominate it, Murkmire is quite bad because Prism just lays down her hand and says, okay, and? You've heard Codex is strong. So that is something to note, Robert, is versus the Assassins and Rangers, try to keep a Herald in Arsenal if you can, so that you don't get forced to discard the Codex. Murkmire is super overrated by Rangers and is only a huge hit against Prisms who overcommit to Angels. I don't disagree. I don't disagree. Speaking of Assassin, our last one, Uzuri, until new comes out at least. I'm gonna put this in favored, but I have seen the concoctions that Tao Tao is coming up with on how to beat Prism and exactly how many deck slots he's willing to devote, and I think this could, honestly, I think this could move all the way down here if the Uzuri knows what they're doing and is willing to spend like 5 cards to beat Prism. In the meantime, I think it's like slightly favored to favored. Probably just favored. They have a lot of the same problems as Arachne. They can just disrupt you out of the game sometimes, although it's not like super common. Whoa, what are the Uzuris cooking up? I don't know that I'm at liberty to say, Mocha, but it's, I mean, you can probably figure it out. It's just like, what does a deck list that beats Prism look like? It looks like that. Viserai. I haven't played enough games versus aggro Viserai to know exactly. It's somewhere between here and here, I think. I do know, shout out to Zach Bunn, who played aggro Viserai at the Calling and was eating Prisms alive. I think he beat 2 of them in day 1. Funny story, we almost had to play in day 2. And then they repaired in the first round, and so I got to dodge him. It rhymes with 7 power pop. It rhymes with 7 power opera, excuse me. Jacob, that's ingenious. I never would have guessed that. Yeah, I wonder whose those bad prisms were that Zach was beating up. I wonder whose those were, Vishra. Do you have any idea? Any idea, Barrett? Anyways, I do think it's an unfavored matchup. The Arcane Pains means that we can't really keep Angels around. They have a reasonable amount of poppers, and they have a reasonable fridge, and they are quite aggressive. Nope, never heard of them. Okay, that's cool. Dane, I thought I had an in to interview them or something. Must have been trash. I'm going to leave Viserai in slightly unfavored right now just because I want a matchup to sit here and not have an empty tier list. And then the other kind of slightly unfavored matchup, which I guess Rune Blades are a thorn in Prism's side. Vincent, I think, is fine. If you attack them with 2 Heralds and they pop twice, their turn probably doesn't do anything. But also they have Delete Ward for 0 resources on their hero ability. So I don't think the matchup is great, but I think you can win it. You're like 0-8 against aggro Viserai, buddy of mine. Ooh. So maybe it's like down here. But on the other hand, the OTK Viserai is like up here. So I think we're gonna average it out to slightly unfavored. Does this list assume the Prism player is playing at 100%? I think this assumes Prism player is playing at like 95%, Nathan. I don't think you need to play perfectly to get here. But I think you need to be playing reasonably well. If you're to play aggro Herald list instead of, it definitely is better than the Aura Focus builds. Do you mean against the aggro Viserai Vishra? I think that's true. Okay, I could rant about this for another hour. We're gonna snapshot it here. Let me actually get my snipping tool out. Can't you just loot Vincent? They're not very fast. That's interesting, Pankaj. I actually haven't tried that. I guess Spellbound Creepers. Yeah? I mean, that's... yeah? The only danger, I guess, is if they play blue lead the charge instead of blue Mauvrian Skies, but they're not going to do that, right? Because they love their rune chants. Where are they getting free action points from, though, Vishra, if it's not Spellbound Creepers? Because killing ALS start of turn isn't a creeper way. This way you don't play into ward and get blown out. Well, I was about to say, the issue with that, Pankaj, is she can still play a Shadow Non attack and then attack ALS, and it still wipes Soraya, because the rune chants fire even though you're attacking Spectra. Which seems like if we're giving up Soraya, or Avalon is more important, you probably can't loop them. How's Vincent not strongly unfavorable? I have a 1090. I mean, maybe it's supposed to be here. Maybe it's supposed to be here. Kevin and Zach do play lead the charge. Some Rune Blades do. Okay, Vincent wrecks you. All right, maybe I'm coping on Rune Blades a little bit. I'm gonna leave this right here just so that this tier isn't empty, and we'll say Vincent is bad and we won't lie to ourselves. I'm gonna snip this, and I'm sure we could argue about this all night. But there we go. That's the official on-hit effect. Heavy hitters meta Prism tier list, assuming that you're playing this list and assuming that you're playing specifically Herald or Flood into every matchup that we say here. There you go. Was that enough caveats for you? I've talked too long. Let's actually play some games. That's what everyone's here for, right? Let me see if anyone is around that wants to play. Otherwise, I am going to hop into a random talishar game. Hashtag you were here. So we're actually going to play Vespa's List tonight, just because it is the new hotness. Why would we not? Viserai, you'd say, is 50-50 or slightly favored, at least the way you play Prism. You can fatigue out the damage. Interesting. Can I show chat the stupidity of the mirror? I don't really want to. I don't really want to. Public. I'm going to hop in a single player game for now. Do I think Prism without Fableds can be played? That's a great question. So the only Fableds in the list right now are there's two of them. Great Library of Solana. I think this card is not necessary at all. Oh, here we go. All right, we're just gonna replicate the Calling top 4 real fast. Let's go. Rapture, Wave of Reality. We do like Arclight Sentinel here. They're going first. Excuse me. So we cut our Sea Stripes, I think. Where are they? And then just ship it like this. Library, I think, is not necessary at all. In fact, I'm not playing it in my personal list. Light of Soul is good, but not mandatory. Sometimes it is just a cracked bauble, which is like actually unoptimal. And if you want to not play with those cards, swap out Library for Arcane Barrier 2, which is what I'm personally going to be doing. And just play any yellow Herald over Light of Soul, and you'll be like 99% of deck power, 95% of deck power. Probably take out Merciful. Oh, that I definitely should have done that and should have left Sea Strike in, yes. This is what I get for not playing with an auto sideboarder. Another caveat is people aren't teching for Prism yet and lack of experience. We saw that a lot this past weekend. Absolutely. I mean, let's try to go down. The question is, like, do people have good Prisms to practice against? I guess, you know what, that's quite good. I guess I'm not helping that problem by making as much content as I can. Alright, if we're gonna get riddled, how tall is this going is the question. Do we pull the Vespa? 5, 6, 7, 8, 4, 5. We could Halo and block this out. It keeps Azalea off of an arsenal as well. I think we're supposed to do it specifically because it stops Azalea from having an arsenal herself. We're gonna do this so we have a guaranteed yellow. We'll get protection. We'll flip Aegis. I guess we're not having a guaranteed yellow. 4, 7, 8. Let our wave die. People leave Odarath up for a turn? Okay, that's disgusting. That sounds great. So this probably can't be popped unless they're playing like Raging Onslaught or Fyendal's Fighting Spirit. We can Wrath over the top of it, get a Ponder, drop this Past Mirage, and pass. If this hits alternatively, we just like Awaken Themis or whatever, yeah. So here I'm just going to awaken this angel, turn this Past Mirage into an offensive 0 for 4 here, as well as gaining 4 life here, and then I'm going to Arsenal this Angelic Wrath and have it primed for a Herald of Erudition maybe, or the next Red Triumph that we draw. Something will get forced through by this Wrath. If Prism does see a large uptick in play after last weekend, do you think Vambrace is a solid card against her? I think Vambrace is a very real card against Prism. Ooh, that's annoying. Especially in Ninja, I think Vambrace is quite good. They pitched a Rain Razors. It makes me feel like they have another Rain Razors. Do we care is the question. We don't have anything in our hand that discards to Rain. And we can just go like play War Tune, pitch here, Wrath over the top, Awaken, Swing an Angel, drop Pierce Reality. Pierce is a very nasty card versus Azalea. They don't have a lot of poppers, and they have a very hard time clearing Spectra. I think I'm okay to just take this. This is like, you know, there's a Blood Rot on hit. The Blood Rot is kind of annoying. It means that whatever angel we awaken, we won't get to keep if we do awaken an angel. Maybe we just double Herald this turn. Let's lead on Wartune Herald and see what happens. I can't wait to draw the Merciful Retribution. I was supposed to sideboard out and get uber punished. We just get carte blanche opportunity to hit. Okay, I won't complain. Only one soul. We do have an opportunity here to grab a Figment, pay for Blood Rot, drop the Pierce Reality, and just say go. That also lets us bank a soul so that we can have a Soraya turn later. I don't hate that. So let's grab Bologna here. Drop Pierce Reality. Awaken? Well, but then we're not banking a soul. It's fine. It's still 4 life. And I will do like that. I don't know that that's our best line. It kind of depends on if they're able to clear the Pierce Reality, but I am wagering that they can't. Which makes this Herald of Erudition really nasty. Even this Red Triumph. That might be... I might be too cautious of a line. Think you would just thrown a card, one card, and blocked it all. It was for 9? Yeah, maybe we were supposed to be... It's so hard to convince myself to block when I see red heralds. Alright, if you want to clear Spectra, bolt and shot into another arrow is the way to do it. This is at me? Alright, how greedy are we, chat? Do we hold the Herald of Erudition? They've already used Death Dealer. If this doesn't hit, they need to Bullseye Brace in. Could have thrown 7 versus blocking 6 plus 20 soul. I think swinging was just better. So we're blocking with this card. Prism is basically Illusion's Tatsu. On the Herald side, yes. So we have a decision point. We can block here and hold attack with this card. Mild chance of staying popped. Or we can block here, pitch this, attack with this. No chance of getting popped, but also like, eh. If this is a Brody list, they might have take aim to reload too. Interesting, that's a good point, Nora. I think right now I want to play it. Let's gamble. Let's be exciting. I'm ready for the Rain Razor. Every attack is in fact a tutor on hit. Alright, no on hit there. Do you want to give me bullseye bracers or... Bernie's list just reads as LLing ISO's mistake. I did honestly have that reaction when I saw the list. I saw 3 blues and I was like, oh, this was a mistake. Is that me? Sure. Take 6. Okay. Let's see if... Hopper check. This is super greedy. I'm about to get punished. I have not slammed it down. I think we're in the clear. Are we gonna get away with this? I should be getting punished right now. I don't... Did Brody's list have battering bolts in it? I thought with only 3 blues he was just playing down and dirties. Oh my god, no blocks even? Oh yeah, we just saw a Deadeye, so this definitely is not Brody's list. Am I going to the Battle Hard in Atlanta? Unfortunately not, Nathan. It's just a bit too much. It's a bit too far of travel for me. Do we have anything we want to rebirth? We do. We have a Herald of Erudition I would love to get back. Alternatively, I can grab this Figment of Erudition to ponder. Attack with this right here. This is gross. So we have the Wrath to make this connect. Then we get the Rebirth. We rebuy the Herald of Erudition back to the top of our deck, and then ponder it into our arsenal. And they don't know that we have the Wrath. They might suspect it because we've sat on arsenal for a while. But what are they going to do? Give 3 cards here? The thing about Brody's list that blew my mind, Nora, that makes complete sense when I saw it was the yellow Spire Sniping is over the blues. Because blue Spire Sniping is such a bad card. There's no breakpoint, so like you put a 0 for 3 buff on it. I do not want to pay 2. And nothing happens. Your opponent puts 2 cards in front of it. And the yellow, being a 1 for 4, means that your opponent has to deal with breakpoints. When you're Spire Sniping bricks, and you don't find like a hero with an on-hit, you can still put a Lace with Bloodrot and it's good. That was the part that was like, duh, why have I not done this in Azalea? You love Amplifying Arrow, Chris? That one, I am not sure that I'm so sold on. Okay, this is just gonna be a red in the ledger for all of. Don't have an Arclight Sentinel to punish this. 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14. Amp Arrow is gas. Hey, it's that merciful. So what is the bet? Amplifying Arrow is a lot better if you play 3 pumps. That is correct. 1 point off covering it, but it's kind of fine. Yeah, the opponent was very bold to just call us on the ALS and we didn't have it. I think this is fine. We can take a bunch of damage here, but we'll awaken Avalon, attack with it on our turn, and it's a fine use of an action. It's like getting 8 value out of these 2 cards. Oh, there is an inertia, isn't there? Yucky. It's fine. It's actually quite funny. If this connects, so if this doesn't connect, we get to awaken an angel. If this does connect, we get to play the Merciful Retribution, which will deal 1 arcane when our inertia pops. Let's gain 4 life and pass. This is an awful hand. Not punished for merciful. I am glad that we didn't get punished by the card that's not supposed to be sighted in, but you know, we're on stream. We gotta make it a little bit exciting, a little bit spicy. So they've got 4 cards here. This is a blue Bolton shot. I would love for them to put some kind of pump on this so that we can Soul Shield pitch a Figment and laugh. Are we winning? Hello, Mark. We are winning right now. I may have thrown this game a couple of times. I got baited into turn 0 Halo, which I'm probably not supposed to ever do. But I think we're gonna get there. With this Soul Shield, assuming they attack me, there's a world where they go like attack Avalon, attack Pierce Reality. I can draw 2 cards off Soraya next turn. Oh, no I can't. No, I can't. Okay. Is this ever a world where I discard a Figment? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I have 2 left. They got Infecting Shot. We will get Herald of Triumph. I mean, like, the Dominate is good, but they've shown us that they have poppers, and we're just interested in closing the game right now. I'm gonna get this Red Herald of Triumph. That might be a mistake. Yeah, I'm gonna discard this Figment of Triumph. I mean, our Halo is gone, so the odds that we get that effect useful in this game are low. Oh, and they're just attacking us? Is this snaps into is this snap into the 3rd Codex? Is that what's happening here? Their hand was 3 Codex of Frailty? I'll take the bait. I wish I had a blue in this hand. I will block this Infecting Shot. Snap into Codex number 3. All 3 Codex in one hand. Let's go. Bring it. They've got a resource floating anyways? No, they're loading. Okay, well that's not as exciting. Now the question is, did they draw a buff off the top? Codex with 3 in hand. It certainly was a line. Typically you lead on the Endless Arrow, and you end the turn on the Codex. I assume this is going at Avalon, because if it goes at my face, I'll just say no blocks, and they don't get to redraw the Endless Arrow. Okay. Or I just get to say no blocks. I'm fine with that. Now, Azalea, I would like you to give me at least 1 card. They actually need to give 2 cards here. If they give 1 card, I do get Figment of Ravages, and they need to give me a 2nd card to Arcane Barrier. They certainly have all the resources they need in this hand. They're gonna have a Tunic turn next turn, so we might still be looking at like 13, 14 damage. Pierce Reality is a ridiculous card. Oh, they're dead to Arcane. Not like right now, but like eventually. Light of Soul, don't kill me. Light of Soul, don't kill me. Pierce Reality is... I don't know how you don't play all 3. Getting them early in these aggro matchups where they can't spend time clearing it is just ridiculous. Okay. Yeah. Gonna rebuy another Herald of Triumph, I feel. Okay, so that's 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. 3, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Then on our turn, we lead. Then we don't have a turn. It's just Endless Arrow, though. It's not lethal. I think we might just supposed to face tank this. Because on our turn, yeah, this is just a bunch of vanilla damage. On our turn, we can go Soraya, draw 2, into Herald of Triumph red, into Wartune Herald. And it's just going to be too much damage for Azalea to deal with. Feels like they're tanking a long time. They're inactive. Ugh. Please come back. Okay. Yeah, this is just 10. There's no snaps, bracers. They can't do this again. I don't think... I think I can afford to go to 3. Classic Rangers ending with 3 cards in their hand at the end of the turn. Face is the place, Mo says. I don't disagree. I guess if we want to play optimally, we can give up footsteps on that turn. But the real question is, are we lucky? How are we feeling? I feel lucky. I feel lucky. So lucky. Yeah, let's get a free soul. Pew pew. You have no arcane barrier anymore, Azalea. Let's draw 2 cards. So good at this game. Attack there. What's hilarious, if they do pop the Wartune Herald somehow, then we get to play the second Pierce Reality because of footsteps. Then we're out of Figments, actually. It's a shame we had to discard our Triumph to the Codex earlier. I'm like actually not upset if they pop this. Ah, good game. GG. It's because you were here, Alex. You're not kidding. So Alex and I have a running joke. It's not even a joke, it's just like fact, where if I pitch Light of Soul, it never hits. It's always a blue on top. Freaking Passing Mirage. It's always Passing Mirage on top of my deck. And I think Alex has hit like his last 8 Light of Souls in a row. I don't know. Mo, did you want to get a game? How do we do against Guardian? I think we do. We think we do okay. Not like an auto win by any means, but I think we do okay. This is so fun to just have this tier list on demand like this. Light of Soul and Ravenous Rabble, hitting blues every time. Simply just get good at Light of Soul. Alex, you're a genius. Why didn't I think of that? Oh no, you're bad. You're just walking on the treadmill and watching. Sounds good. That is like my favorite way to get exercise in, is on my stationary bike as I'm watching TV or playing Flesh and Blood. I totally get it. Kano, we'll see if they stick around. Oh, this list has AB1 though. So, oh, I queued in with, oh, I'm so sorry. I queued in with my list. It's fine. They left. That's okay. Let's make sure that we actually play the correct deck list though. So that was a fortuitous accident. By the way, there is a Kano running around that is not completely free. Okay, interesting. Well, we said that we wanted to, or I said at least that I didn't know how Viserai goes. Let's see how Viserai goes. Oh, it's Brainstorm? Sure. I mean, that's just not real. Excuse me. Not playing library. We can play some of these Spectra. The deck is very much a meme. But I think we're just supposed to present our main 80. Good luck, have fun. They didn't go first. I assume they're aggro. Let's just throw the main 60 here and see what happens. Reaping Blade. Reaping Blade tells me they're probably aggro. Can I get a hit through here? Or at least eat equipment? I can probably at least eat equipment here, right? Let's start here and see where things go. If they give 3 cards, then we're cooking. If I didn't have a red Triumph here, I wouldn't attack on this turn. I would just pass and arsenal the red Triumph. Turn 0, of course. But the fact that this is really... Alright, they have the 7 power popper. You got it. I can't do anything about that. I don't even want to filter my hand. It's just good. How explosive is their turn 0? I think they can kill Rebirth with Rune Chance even while looping. We're leading on Tome of the Arcanite. Are you lucky? They're very lucky. They drew their second Runic Reclamation. Well, this game might just be over before it even begins. Oh, Smurf, you're very, very behind, but welcome. Huh? They're just attacking with this? So they're like representing Pummel? Sure, show me the Pummel. Creeping. Okay. What are we creeping here? The incantation? Sure. I see. Uh-huh. Mm-hmm. Yes. Okay. Well, we'll just play this game one hand tied behind our back, I guess. Excuse me. So we can prevent a whopping 2 of all of this damage. So assuming their deck is half... God, we're starting at 17. So assuming that their deck is half attack actions, half non-attacks, it was a coin flip for them to win that Tome of the Arcanite. And their turn is just like nothing if they don't. Okay. I mean, did I not prevent one of them? That's fine. It's whatever. It's not ice, but Viserai does punish low blue decks. Yeah, it just doesn't hit the same, Chris. It just doesn't hit the same. There's no way they have the 3rd Runic Reclamation, right? There's no way. So that ended up being like a 3-card 15 on their first turn. I still miss my Arcane Spam Blitz deck. Oh god, I do too, Chris. Trust me, I do too. I wonder if we'll ever get like Blitz Living Legend format. Oh, that was a Lead the Charge. Mm-hmm. Gross. That deck was very fun, but it also just had so many non-games. Like, the Mirror was awesome, and most other games were very boring and very, very fast. I still remember that Blitz 1K where I killed... Matthew McInnes was playing Chain, and I killed him on his turn 1. I went first. I snuck in some arcane damage turn 0. And on his turn 1, we got there. Yeah, that's an arsenalable card. Starvo issues. Okay, how dead am I? I'm at 17 and it's turn 2. That's a good start. That's not a good follow-up, though. Hilariously, our hand doesn't block 6 and also attack with Go again, which is problematic. Because we really love to get this out. Don't have much of a choice here. We have to block this because there's 3 rune chance on the back end if we don't. Okay, so they bricked hard. That's good. Our turn is send 6 Phantasm back. So they decided to not pop us last turn. It must have been their only, it was their only attack action? Yeah, okay. Okay, well we're trading card for card with them. That's something. His hand is not great. Angelic Wrath pitches 3. I guess. Oh. Is this another no attack action hand? Oh, they're getting back. They're swarming. They don't have 2 modes. That's pretty good. Follow up Reaping Blade, sure. And we have 1 floating. The arcane damage wasn't preventable, but we can cash in on Footsteps. We still are just so behind. They're like out of fridge though. Protection is just a guaranteed gain of life. We don't really have other relevant angels right now. Okay, here's a hand. This hand blocks 4 and sends back 14. Assuming that they don't have a popper. If they do have a popper, we're not back in this game anyways. For 7. Oh god, that is a really big attack to block when we don't have a blue in our hand. It's only a blue Mobstrize, but that's still pretty good. Okay, so this is... blocked 7 here on our turn, swing 7. Am I playing too afraid of a single rune chant? I think I am. I think I'm just supposed to call them that they don't have the popper next turn. I mean, game's just kind of over with too much of a life deficit though. Let me clarify. This life deficit is perfectly fine if we have like a flood turn coming, but we don't. Ugh. This threatens to put us to 4. Hello, Rising Dawn. We won a game versus an Azalea, and now we're getting roasted by a Viserai that had turn 0 7 Power Popper and a turn 1 Tome of the Arcanite that hit, which is not how you usually draw it up as Prism. So we like started the game at 17 life. Oh, it was also a Revel turn 1, because of course. Who knows, maybe they bricked here though. We just want to see him start blocking with a lot of cards here. Okay. Okay. Do we have anything worthwhile to rebirth? Not really. So let's just get more damage while we can. What a 3-card hand. Oh, I just passed my... I did not mean to skip that. I was way too eager on my spacebar. Alright, let's try that a bit more patiently. Probably just getting judgment here. This isn't relevant. This isn't relevant. We can ping them for 1. Maybe we're supposed to. Why not? Well, the answer why not is because we still have Halo up. I would be surprised if we're not haloing for Triumph on this turn, though. Hey, welcome, Paul. It's not going great in this game, Paul. I would kill for an Arclight Sentinel right now. Yeah. Let's try to draw into a blue. Can we get double soul here is the question. Hey, we're gonna draw into a blue. Give you -1. Would Halo for Judgment have been a good idea against the Rattlebones? So there's never an opportunity where we can play it, Jordan. Rattlebones resolves and then puts the card in there banished, and then they can play it before we have an opportunity to judgment it. Runeblade always pain for Illusionist. It's definitely doing its worst right now. Vestige is online though. That's pretty sweet. So we get to full block those rune chants. And also full block here. And then we die. Super dead. I think I don't mind asking them for another game after this. Because I feel like, you know, if we don't start the game down so much, maybe we can get there. Vincent won a 16% armory that you had last night. Runeblade meta incoming. Here, I will concede, and they have agreed to a rematch, so let's try it out. This turn 0 is much better. Like to slap this Pierce Reality down, Arsenal War Tune, and feel quite good. How are we doing on stream time? 8:41. Just a hard cast 9th Blade. Huh. That is a thing. That seen Malice Tome of the Arknight become the Arknight. I mean, I'm not gonna say no. I'll just block Sips, get a soul. My turn, I'll like throw Wartune Herald and Arsenal Herald of Judgment. Actually, they don't have any rune chance. I'll probably, if the Wartune connects, probably pitch Judgment to awaken and attack with an Angel. This is, of course, hinging on this connecting. If it's popped, then we have a safe Arsenal. You don't hate take 9, throw Herald plus hold Merciful. They've still got creepers. We already have a Spectre on the board. Like, we're taxing their action points enough. Maybe so. Oh god, so their hand just does nothing. Uh-huh. I mean, I won't complain. They just make 3 chance since they go. That sure was a Viserai hand of all time. We're gonna pitch away one of these eruditions. If this Herald connects, we can go get Soraya, draw 2. They don't have an Arsenal. And then if they crack balance, we can... Do we even need to draw 2 here, actually? Or do we just make Spectral Shields? Hello, Joshua. Let's play a bit more conservatively. The fact that they didn't pop that means that they probably can't pop this protection. No, I don't want to banish from soul. And then here we can go to a ponder token. Not a bad turn cycle. Can't arsenal that though. Disaster. Alright. Oh god, what is this hand? Sonata whiff. What is it? They revealed 4 cards. It's a Runeblood Incantation, Shrill Storm, Mauve Skies, Mauve Skies. So they got a blue shrill to hand. Wow, they almost whiffed. We have 2 figments in this hand. Sure, I will stop the 1 arcane. Everyone's crying about the loop and calling for Arclight ban now. Well, you saw the emergency ban and suspended announcement on Twitter, right? That was totally real. Wink wink. That was definitely real. But their turn is just... Oh. Okay. 3 rune chance, and then... I've never been able to loop anyone. It is really hard, and then you do it once, and you're like, oh, I get it now. Keep trying, Rising Dawn. You'll get there. This turn is honestly not that scary. Two chance left. I think we're just supposed to pitch this. Well, we're losing Bologna to Shrill of Stolform. Oh, do we draw 2 on our turn? Yeah, okay. That gives us max value out of Bologna as well. We just have to hope that their balance is bad. Their hand was quite bad because they sonated and then just attacked with a blue shrill. And their last card is noticeably not a Mauvrion Skies because they didn't play it into Reaping Blade. Balance is... Letting them have their balance is probably okay here. It's very okay if we draw like that. Talk about how different this game is from the first game, by the way. Okay. You got me. Kind of traded my free card for their free card there, I guess. Yeah, one time snap goes very far in terms of breaking up the loop. It's just no one likes to attack if they don't have to. Glad I arsenaled a Herald, by the way, because this hand does nothing. Getting a red mauve, that's perfectly fine. I am happy to block this turn. What is this card? It draws the card. Okay. So like give 1 here. Block here, see what the follow-up is. Probably just gonna be pitching my hand this turn. Oh, okay, or there's a Revel. So I can pitch 4 resources in my hand and get 4 value, or I can Soul Shield the Rune Flash, get 4 value, and also get a soul. So I'm gonna choose to do that latter one. We're also getting sorted after this? That's disgusting. I forgot about clicking through individual rune chants. Oh, Viserai. Never change, Viserai. If Viserai wanted to get back in this game, this is the turn he needed, though. Alright, I'm shields down. Show me what you got. Yep. Are we creeping? No, just sorting. Okay. Killing Pierce. Interesting. I'm not complaining. It's 3 less damage at my face. I already got a lot of value out of that Pierce. What happens if you have an Ode on board in Hand Loop? Do you mean a Merciful, maybe? If you have Merciful on board, you just need to pile on Spectra as much as you can. And specifically also being attacking with Heralds and pressuring your opponent like, hey, do you want to pop this? Because if so, I'm going to get a Figment out, which turns into a weapon, which is annoying for you to clear while I'm also playing Spectra. It becomes much less about just doing something with ALS and more about putting as many permanents on the board as possible if you're stuck with a Merciful. Should not have blocked, lost attack, only got 1 value on Angel. There were 5 rune chants, and I only had 4 resources in hand, so I wasn't able to stop all the rune chants anyways. Yeah, of course, Beef. Okay, I'll get ready to block a lot again, because there's a red Mavrian's guys. Just need to find one more good pivot turn where we can like double Herald and start forcing them to have to block. Am I? Yeah, sorry, that was on me. Okay. I can handle this. So we're pitching to Arcane Barrier and Footsteps. And blocking 3 plus Footsteps. This is just Sword after, presumably, which we have 1 floating for the rune chant. You might say, Joshua, that life is an illusion. Interesting that we're not swinging Reaping Blade there. I mean, I won't complain. Sandbagging a Pauper, maybe? I mean, if you have it, you have it. We haven't seen any of the Runic Reps this game. Yeah, there we go. I can't get over the top of that one, so I will say go. This hand is just okay. Are we hitting here? Runic Reclamation and Swarming Gloom Veil go to hand. I think we might supposed to be developing Merciful on this turn. Stop 1 here. Block 3 here. See where the turn goes from here. We get punished with Mavrian Strides. Okay, that's fine. Joke's on you, I didn't want to stop Arcane this turn anyways. So last card in hand is Runic Wreck. Are they just going to sandbag it this turn cycle? Yeah, they are. Alright, well that makes playing Merciful Retribution quite bad. So we're not going to do that. Whenever an aura's target control is destroyed, deal an arcane damage to target hero. If it's a non-target light card, put it in your hero's soul. Might still be worth it. It's strange. I haven't run into this situation before. Are we supposed to do that into a pauper that we know about? Because they can attack with the runic wreck and eat our merciful. Let's try an experiment here. I don't know if this is correct. Let's try it. We were doing so well too, and then we just started drawing hands that did not attack twice with heralds at breakpoints. Okay, okay. I know that you have the runic reclamation. I want some turns off for you to chew through these spectra. Because I'm real happy to block 7 if you just attack me for 7. Obviously, we're doing it for the content. Oh, I have given them a puzzle here. The dream is like they have no blues in hand. So if they do want to runic correct, they have to spend 3 cards from hand to do it, plus tunic. I see what you mean, Thor. I don't know. I think I made that block before I knew that they had the Revel, and I still had dreams about keeping Soraya alive because I had a soul, but I probably should have been more pessimistic and just admitted that Soraya was dying that turn cycle and gotten more ward value out of her. You're totally right. There's the Maw Skies. Alright, I'm getting ready to block 7. Oh, that's mean. What color mauve is this? Blue? So if I give them this one... No, their last card in hand... Oh! Their last card in hand is the runic wreck. They can't attack with it this turn. What is their arsenal? Okay, okay, okay. So our turn then is like... red protection for 9 with pauper backup? Yeah, okay, okay, okay. I'm in now. I'm paying attention. I follow. Oh, did I... I'm sorry, I forgot to block with a 3 block as well. It's supposed to be Footsteps plus Herald of Triumph there. I got so caught up in the excitement of not having 7 delete an aura being swung at my face this turn. Right? They're just gonna sword after this and continue to sandbag the pauper? Does that get us anywhere though? I have a Mercer Retribution on the field. A killing merciful. Okay, yeah. I mean, that makes sense. Yeah. Prevent, save a life. Deal 1 to you. Would have loved to have gotten a Figment out of that merciful. We know they have a 7 power. We have to just make them pop with it. Feels awful. Yeah. You played with 3 intellect last turn. I can't really complain. Ooh, this is a good hand. Alright, are we gonna whiff on a Sonata? Dread Triptych? Dread Triptych is the reveal. I'm happy pitching here. Have a feeling I'll have something to do with these other 2 resources. This is a double War Tune hand. I think we're supposed to take our lumps on the rest of this turn. Yeah, because this is just drawn to the Dark Dimension. Stop 1. Footstep 1. This must be a creep, right? This is creep in a revel. I'm dead. This game started so well. Yeah, this is creeping. Something. What is it, is the question. A Mordred Tide? But you haven't dealt any arcane damage. What do you... I don't... What? Okay. 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 Well, let's see if you have the popper. You don't. That's really good for me. We're just supposed to make a spectral shield and try to survive, right? Defensively haloing next turn almost assuredly. Alright, well we put them at dead to Secum. We just have to survive. The Runeblades are so hard to get good value from any hand. They definitely need like the perfect storm combination of cards. This is a yellow mauve. This is attacking for 7. So I word 4 plus block 3, leaving 1 floating to stop the second rune chant here. On my turn, awaken Secum, attack, kill you. Okay. So I can afford to stop one of these. This one gets eaten by the shield. Then we awaken Aegis here. And they have to deal 10 damage off of these 2 cards. 11, because I'll block with Vestige's Soul at this point. Still unsure. Yeah, they did not have 10. Oh, they got stuck on an arsenal to amplify and then never had 6 rune chants. I see. Didn't even need a halo this game. That's I'm sure there's a turn cycle where I could have, but I missed it. Okay. Interesting. Well, that was actually my first games versus aggro Viserai as Prism, as embarrassing as that might be to say publicly. I guess they don't play as many poppers as I would have assumed. That game was kind of strange because they got essentially 0 value out of their creepers. I got no value out of my halo. Huh. I'm gonna have to revisit that one more. I think I'm gonna start winding down there, but we do have one more thing to do tonight. I know that was only 3 games, sorry. I will be back with a gameplay video next week. Probably going to be Tatsu. I would prefer for it to be Tatsu, but before we go, I mentioned this earlier. I have a stack of heavy hitters cards to give away here. I'm just going to do this to one person. And I mentioned this at the start of the heavy hitter season. I was going to crack that box. The spoils of the box would be given away. So what actually was in that box outside of, like, you know, some bulk foil rares? Maybe you want those. Really, we care about the Majestics, right? Dissolve Reality. Very hotly contested in Illusionists right now. There's another, you know, there's some Majestics in here. We saw on camera, I opened the Cast Bones. Not bad. Cold Foil Stonewall Impasse was the cold foil in the box. Can we get that cold foil Shine the Light? Yeah, right there. Could be better, could be worse. But kind of the spicy pulls of the box. 2 foil Majestics. Show No Mercy. And a beautiful foil Coercive Tendency. Which you can see that foil pit strip right there. I don't know if that was experimental, if they're doing that on all blue cards, starting in Mysteria. We'll see. I really hope that they do. Not the most exciting box, but if you're interested in winning it, here's what we're going to do. We talked at the start of the stream about I might be getting into Enigma a little bit when Mysteria comes out. So make sure you're subscribed and leave a comment saying if you're on Team Enigma or Team Prism and why. A week from today, 7 p.m. Wednesday the 17th, I will pick a random comment and post the winner to Twitter and reply to that comment. And then we can work out how to get you your nice little stack of cards. It's not the best pulls in the world, but it's something, and it's free to someone. Enigma gained. I also hate to say I might be an Enigma gamer as well. Yeah, there is a Dissolve Reality in here, Celis. You've been pretty high on that card, right? I think the turn that I hit with the Herald that prevents play from Banished, and they had a Rattle Bones pitch, was pretty huge. That's true, Doused and Die. We do randomly hose that card against Viserai, don't we? Well, that's your hint about, if you've watched to the end, how to enter the giveaway. Because if I hit a random comment that's not talking about Enigma versus Prism, clearly you're not participating in the giveaway. You're just being a great person that's you know, commenting on the video, which is also much appreciated. So that's our little secret for those of you that made it to the end of the stream or the end of the VOD video on demand. I think I'm going to wind it down there. I'll be back with more gameplay. Like I said on Twitter, I think the pre-recorded gameplay is probably going to be the bulk of my content going forward. I enjoy streaming. It's fun to hang out with chat, but there's something about pre-recorded gameplay where you can vouch for the quality of your opponent, and also just having a conversation with your opponent about what lines they're thinking about and why, I think is really valuable. Love my vibes so relaxing. Oh, thank you, Michael. That's really, I really appreciate that. Enigma gained once she's out. Prism gained till then. Illusionist forever. I love the vibes, Mark. Pre-recorded also good. Thanks for making anything in the first place. Of course, Mocha. I do this for fun. At the end of the day, I do this just because I like to. And I think that's what's important. I still don't paywall any of my content. I still am working on a written Prism primer. I promise. It's taking a while. Please bear with me. But you know, in the meantime, just keep being excellent people and keep playing great games of Flesh and Blood. I will catch y'all later, and I'll be back in a week to find out who wins this stack of cards. See you then. If you did enjoy this video, please remember to do all the typical YouTuber things, liking, subscribing, maybe turning on the notification bell. And I also want to highlight, I do have a very modest Patreon if you want to monetarily support me at all. There's just a single $1 per month tier. The only like explicit benefit that you see outside of being a really cool person that supports the channel is you get to play with the on hit effect card back sleeves that you saw me play with today. I like to shout out some of my patrons every time I stream. And so a special big thank you to my newest patron, Aurelia Augusta, as well as some of my longtime members from the very beginning, Kevin Breyer and Levi Rauch. Thank you both to the new and old, and maybe you next time. I'll catch you later.